Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
Everybody, welcome to a very, 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 very special episode of Jada XD. We will be coming to you every Thursday for your official Married at First Sight recap here exclusively on Spotify.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh. We had to do it.
Yeah.
We had to do it.
When you listen to tomorrow's episode, know that is last week's episode. So just know that going forward, every Thursday, you will have a new recap for the episode that came out the day before, sometime in the afternoon on the Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Okay. This was a heavy episode.
Whew.
A lot of juice.
So much juice. I mean, like Lizzo style, like WAP, nigga.
Right. So I'm gonna take you through the entire episode as is.
Okay.
Because I think it's the easiest way to digest the episode.
Okay.
We opened this week on day 7 of the marriage. So, they're still in Vegas, still strangers, but married. And it's the last day, and they're on their way to Atlanta, where they're living in some sort of marriage combine or commune or something. That's very what's that show that they saw, The Circle or Love at First?
Yeah, the social media thing.
Mm-hmm. Or the other one, Love is Blind or whatever that they try to do on Netflix.
And it can take over your mind. Yes, I'm sorry.
Right. So
yes.
Everybody's recovering. They already have masks. Rom-com is the only one that's not wearing a mask, but she's also in the confessional and she's telling us what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So remember last week or tomorrow's episode, you'll know that she ditched him for a night with the girls and their husbands.
Yes.
She explains that she had texted the girls and they just happened to have their husbands.
That's a lie.
And right.
The lie detector determined. So.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of, did you know Karamo is on Maury now?
Doing what?
That is to be determined, but he's on there doing stuff as a Mother Love.
Wait.
Yeah, Karamo Brown.
Did I tell you I used to date his cousin? Okay, wait, hold on.
Did I ever tell you the story how I went on a date with Karamo years ago?
I feel like you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, one day, whenever I get a book deal, it's going in the book.
Are you addicted to porn? Confronted with Karamo.
That's what we need to cover. Shit.
Oh shit. Okay, listen. Okay.
Right.
With the shit.
So they go back to the night previously, and there's much more to the fight that happened. And evil villain accused her of having another man back in Atlanta because she's so I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna shut down. And I understand rom-com because I have very similar issues, and I think a problem with the show is that I can see some of myself and some of my flaws in these people, and I realize, oh, this is why this drives my nigga crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
However, I understand why she's also reserved because he's also a stranger.
Yes, and she just don't like him like that.
Right. I get it.
You know, it's like that meme that came out recently where somebody was like, you ever been laid up with a nigga and think to yourself, this is the last time I'm gonna be here? The last time we gonna chill? Like, at a certain point, sometimes you just don't like them like that, and you can't make yourself like them like that. But she's also dead ass wrong. But
She is, because she also got on another flight or another seat. So she kind of like ditched him for Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Very true. Very true.
So, they get back to Atlanta, and they're all staying in this hotel building or whatever, which looked like an old like public storage facility, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So Heather, Headley, and Miro, she's my favorite couple. Even though they was going through it this episode, they still will make it.
Well, they have no choice but to be our favorite couple. But well, just get it out your goddamn system already.
Okay.
Jesus.
God. But yeah, we don't have any other choice.
We have no
every
choice.
Other couple here is insufferable.
We have no other choice but to stand.
Yeah.
Let's put that hard question
we
mark
learned.
on there.
Yeah, we learned that. And we already knew that not Heather Headley liked her, things a specific way.
Yes.
She's very
I'm very curious to their signs.
methodically. She's very methodical. I feel like he's a Cancer or a Gemini. He's got to be.
I feel like he's a Cancer or an Aquarius, and I think
He might be an Aquarius.
She might be a Virgo, a Libra. Okay, season 12.
She gives me Taurus or Capricorn.
She gives me Earth.
Yeah.
She gives me Earth.
Yeah. But I did appreciate her. They were the only people in this whole entire cell was like, take your shoes off, take your shoes off, take your shoes off. So they move on to, and Miro is like, he in love.
He's a Leo. Vincent is a Leo.
I'm not surprised by that either.
Her sign is not listed though. Okay, so Paige is a Cancer. Chris is a Libra.
That also. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, the two drunk whites don't have theirs listed. Haley, she's a Sagittarius. Also makes sense. And he's a Libra as well. Also makes sense. Clara is a Capricorn and Ryan is a Gemini.
Okay. Well, Cheese Stick and not Mila Kunis, we flash back to them in their house for one of the first times where they're not drinking.
The first thing she mentions is the wine glasses in the apartment.
Yeah, she does. And, they go back to keep talking about compromise. And she, is talking about, passing out at friend's guy's house while being drunk. And Cheese Stick, aka Eric, is like, I get it. You're fun and all this good stuff, but we are married. And his tonality, and last episode, I was like, you were a dickhead for that, but now I understand.
Okay, so here's my thing.
Okay.
Because he is right in his
I will say where he is right when we get to it.
okay. However, what I do have an issue with is he keeps bringing up how he knows how this is supposed to work because he's done it before. And I'm like, but it failed, nigga. And it was also a while ago, and it just wasn't successful. And again, you told us in the beginning of this that it wasn't a real marriage. So really, technically, you don't know how this goes. And I feel like this is a foreshadowing to him later on continuously bringing her age up and their difference and having that little father complex, because he tries to act like he's cool with the ages, but he really does have a daddy complex with her.
He does. He definitely says some parental shit to her.
Yeah.
But I also want her to lay off alcohol a little bit because her skin is a little...
I bet you just, baby, let's just some water. Some water.
Just water. That's all. Just, I know, just even, I'm not telling you to just quit drinking altogether. Instead of Thursday through Saturday or Sunday, just do Friday through Saturday. Just 2 days. Take 2 nights off out the week. That's all.
Maybe
it's
3.
A start.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, it's a start. I don't want to infringe on your fun.
And some retinol.
Oh, honey. So, we cut to, we're back to Black Christian Weave Lady now because she pissed me off in this episode. So, Paige, aka Black Christian Weave Lady, moves into the apartment by herself.
Yeah.
And she explains that #blessed has got a ticket to Chicago to quote unquote clear his head.
And I feel like he told her that the day they were leaving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He told her that.
I fucking hate that nigga.
Same. He is so smug. He is arrogant and bold. That's the shit
I wanna wet my hand and slap the shit out of him. Like, I fucking hate that nigga.
I have choice words for what I wanted to say about him, but not
I know.
not behind a paywall.
Because we trying to strike up a something, and there will be everything will be dripping in Jada XD, but we still have to scale back a smidge, a taste.
Yeah, but he is a horrible and insufferable human being, and I hope bad things happen to him.
Oh, absolutely.
And I hope that baby that comes into this world is given to parents that love them and adore them. Yeah, and not those two that are giving birth to, that conceived and birthed the child.
Oh, well, you can't blame the lady now. She ain't do nothing.
Yes, I can.
How?
I'm going to tell you why I could play you, because she chose to lay with that man.
Oh. Anybody who chooses to lay with that man.
You know what it is? I struggle with people who have really poor pussy management skills. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that's why she's Black Christian Weave Lady.
Yeah, and that's my issue with her.
And let's be clear, poor pussy management skills is not to be conflated with a DNC or a mistake, because those happen, and DNCs are do not counts, just in case y'all were wondering. Those happen because you don't know. However, when you continue to make poor decisions with said pussy in situations, that is poor pussy management.
This it's also poor pussy management when you allow Jesus to govern your pussy too, because that's also what happens in this episode.
Listen, because Jesus has been governing her.
I want her to stop, leave a couple Sundays alone.
Lose yourself.
God,
listen, and this is not to shake this is not a diss on nobody's faith, because I actually love watching people. I don't care where it comes from. I love it. I find it encouraging. Tabitha, I'd be like, yes, Queen, go off on these people in a holy way and let them know to fuck off. I love all of that. But you are now
This is becoming an
too
issue.
far.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is too far.
You take a drag too far,
Too-
mama.
you
Scale it
take a
back.
drag too far.
Scale it back. Scale it back. Scale it back.
Oh shit.
Because
Ooh.
poor pussy management gets you in poor situations.
Okay, then you be up there
And-
looking like Nina Bonina Brown in that damn peach.
Yeah, exactly. Poor pussy management leads you to poor niggas. Write that down. Like Angela out this motherfucker. I got bars.
Ooh,
Pastor
ooh.
Cal got to run for his money. I got advice.
Let me tell you something. I was like, how Pastor Cal don't know none of this before he came up in this apartment?
Don't know.
What he be doing? He's like, don't
Right.
call my phone after 6, and I want all the highlights at once. So I was like,
Right.
what you doing,
Old
Pastor
nigga
Cal?
shit.
What you doing?
So, Paige says, or Black Christian Weave lady says, I'm just gonna give him the space that he needs, whatever the fuck. So we go to
I'm about
Anderson
sick of her
Park.
too.
Yeah. So we go to Anderson Park in Offred. Again, Offred is becoming a fave, not her nigga, but just her.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes to bed at 10 o'clock. I was like, me, although I go to bed earlier than that.
She's
She's
VV
like-
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is Jay. She's like, earliest. I get in the bed at like midnight, but do
She
I
was
go to
like, you
sleep?
know, 1:30. I was like, yes, queen, same.
No.
You know, 3.
No,
Whatever.
No.
Mhm.
I think that attributes to her being, a flight attendant. So she always has to be up and ready to go,
Yeah.
And she's, it's stuff we assumed. He's super methodical. He likes sleeping in pitch darkness and coldness. Same. And
Same. But also
Yeah.
my heart.
yeah, but she also needs white noise, which I also need same. I need white
Same.
noise, and I need it to be dark and cold.
Okay, I like all of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we cut to evil villain and rom-com. So they are unpacked. So they get to the apartment, and evil villain goes, do we need a tour of this apartment, or are we just gonna get into this shit right now?
Which I loved it.
I appreciate it.
He was like, let's get straight to the mess.
Right, because he was really hurt. Like,
Yeah.
hurt, and
Understandably
I would
so.
be hurt too.
Yeah. And it stings. It stings when you see all the couples together with your wife and everybody scurries off. Can you imagine the childlike
Niggas was
feelings? They're
Yeah.
like, and again,
Yeah.
I'm really looking at y'all grown ass niggas sideways for scurrying off on this grown man. I just want
all
you to
of
know
them.
that.
All of them.
I'm looking at all of y'all.
Y'all
Mein
are rude.
Kampf, all of y'all. I'm looking at all of y'all
Yeah.
sideways.
All of them. So rude.
So that's so nasty. So she irritates me. She irritates me
valid.
because she said he flipped out on her. Now, also I laughed because she said she changed her seat at the airport.
Yeah.
And she was like, "We need some time apart, nigga. Don't sit next to me." I'm like, we not doing this, and I live.
I'm
for
sitting alone in the VIP. Leave me alone.
in the VIP, sitting alone in the VIP. So apparently, what we find out is that he accused her of acting like she is seeing somebody else. And said, does she have a boyfriend somewhere else? Like, and she flips to being very insulted. And he does a play-by-play as to why this whole thing looks sketchy.
Yeah.
But I did have that red flag popped up when he goes, and it's happened in my past. Because we need to focus on her behavior and her behavior only.
Oh yeah, because Daddy was projecting a little bit.
Oh, Boots.
Yeah, because a little PTSD kicked in, and he was like, "This happened to me before." So I'm like, "So niggas scurried off on you before, friend? That says a lot more about you." And the company you may or may not keep. But she tries to explain her feelings away, and he drags her again, and he says that she lacks accountability because he's like, I've given you space. I've done everything you asked me for, and you still refuse to say or do anything. And he says that the experts matched him wrongly and called her high strung. I was like, ooh, Miss Mamas is mad.
Pissed boots.
And I agreed though, because like her trying to rationale or explain it away was dumb. Like I knew she was lying about like, no, I just wanted to meet up with the girls.
Well, she was, and also she says she started pulling away because she saw things she didn't like. He asked what things they were, and she said, "You calling me a liar?" Well, skirt. That happened after. So why don't you again just say, "I don't like you like that," and I'm trying to like you like that, and it's not happening for me.
Right. And that's where we're stuck at with them for now. We move on to the day 8 of marriage. At this point, I don't know how I feel about Pastor Calvin or any of them.
Yeah, same.
And I need to go back and watch earlier seasons. You all keep telling us you guys need to watch X, Y, and Z again. This is why we watch Drag Race, and what we learned in Drag Race. If the joke isn't apparent from the beginning, that means the shit wasn't funny. That applies to everything else in life. If you're not gonna give me the full gestalt about who these people are and how they set them up, then shit is lost in translation. So I'm SOL, and so now I got to pick up the pieces. But I shouldn't have to go, well, you need to watch this season in order to get this season. No, I don't.
See, that's how I feel. You see, this is why, like, niggas tried to convince me for Breaking Bad for just so long. And let me tell y'all something. A, I don't like unsolicited advice. It irritates me. And B, I don't like Breaking Bad. Just get it through your thick head that I don't like Breaking Bad. I'm not going to like Breaking Bad, and it shouldn't take me 8 goddamn episodes to like a motherfucking show.
Yo, I said the same thing about, what's that shit that these niggas watch? Some shit on the, I stopped taking Twitters. No, I forgot what the shit is called now.
What's it about? I'm so curious.
Snowfall. Oh,
I
the reason
did
why I
start
couldn't.
watching Snowfall.
That's a little bit too much for me.
Which,
especially first
know
season
thyself,
with okay,
no
Rit Star.
Can you? Noah, can you close the door? Noah, can you close the door for me, please? My door? Why are your shoes on then? Why are you in the bathroom? I'm going to scream. Now I got to wash and mop everything. Okay, anyway.
Okay. So, we cut to Paige. She's setting up working from home and and all that good stuff. And we cut back to evil villain and rom-com, and they're sleeping in different beds. They're texting each other from the bed. They got into I guess even more of a heated argument where evil villain apologized. Yes. And he was like, I didn't mean to call you those names and those things, but I was hurt.
I laughed when he got mad. Cause he wasn't disrespectful. He didn't go off in a way that gave me red flags. He made me laugh because he started calling her out on a bullshit.
Yeah, like he could have said a lot more, but
could have. He's been quite patient with her. He's been quite patient with her.
Very, very patient. because he was like, well, I'm in the guest room, so I guess we are really married.
Mm.
And I was like,
That made me laugh too.
yeah. And he's super apologetic. But at this point, it's time for the couples to get to know each other through their own personal spaces, so they can help them pack up some stuff and bring back to the apartment where they're going to be living for the next couple months.
Yes.
So we see not Mila Kunis' apartment, and it looks like an
What
LA
I thought
girl
it
apartment.
would.
Same. It's pictures of her sorority and
Big
dogs
V's.
over dudes.
Yeah.
And, it's like a Pinterest
Yes,
board.
very much so. Yes.
Yeah.
Busy.
And she has 2 cats and a dog. And Cheese Stick says he's allergic. And, a lot of people who are allergic to cats say this too. They be like, or say they're allergic to cats and be like, well, they would never know until they see the cat and they start sneezing.
Yes. And then some people are like, I know there's a cat in here. Even that's when I know you really allergic.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that know when there's a cat instantly because my eyes swell.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, looks like you need to come with the Claritin boy.
Well, I have to take this shit, regularly, so it's fine.
But yes, her apartment is your quintessential Pinterest. She's got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of live, laugh, love shit. There's pictures all over the refrigerator. It looks exactly as I expected it. It was not what I expected, but also made sense. It was your quintessential nigga bachelor pad with a big ass sectional and a fancy contraption of a fireplace for sexy time.
Yeah. I didn't really understand his condo.
Didn't either.
It was, I've realized if it was decorated differently, it would be really pretty.
If it was decorated.
Yeah.
All it had was a couch.
Yeah. And his little room where he does music or whatever. I was like, okay, Cheese Stick, I get it, but you're rarely home, so what's the point of you even investing in all this good stuff? Because you're not home all the time,
Right?
So I get it. We go to Romcom's house. She has a townhome, and her house is actually pretty cute.
No, it is. It looks like I thought it would.
Yeah, Sarah plain and tall, just like her.
Exactly.
Now here's where I don't. Just
She didn't
between
make him
us
take his
squirrel
shoes
friends,
off, though. That was a red flag for me.
yeah. But just between us squirrel friends, I don't like when white people make Karen jokes.
Okay. I made a joke. A note, right? Because I was like, so he's going, first and foremost, before that, he's going all through her shit. Like, nigga,
I would have did the same thing. Here's the thing. He said, he said it playfully. And you know why? Why I would have did it? I don't know if he was a serial killer or not.
Okay, fair.
Because here's the thing. I wouldn't trust after I had saw what #blessed and Black Christian Weave lady was going through. That means there's a glitch in the matrix. That means that
you're right. No,
so
you're right.
I need to do some investigation on myself.
You're right.
Okay, I can't trust. I put a lot of trust in these niggas, but at some point you have to put trust in yourself.
Okay, I get it. Fair. And
See,
she
this
does
is me
act like
watching
she
too many
hides
Madea
stuff.
plays.
I will say she acts like she hides stuff, so I can see.
Listen,
like,
my-
girl,
her-
what you got behind here?
Her nickname at the beginning of this was almost 2020. It was either 2020 or Dateline, but I decided, I went with something else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because she looks like.
Nope. No, way too brave, Jade. Way
Yep,
too brave.
Yep. Still on
I
Spotify.
cannot
Still on
say
Spotify.
I don't know if I can say that shit on Patreon.
Nope.
either.
Don't do it because I'm sure I said this. I had to say.
I turned my mic off.
Jade said she looks like she would feed her kids peanuts and butter and pickles. Underwater.
So oh God. Okay. So yeah, the Karen thing now. Yes. I was like, well, first of all, when did white people co-opt Karen? Second of all, this nigga didn't even do it right because he's talking about, she's like Karen, and he's like, don't we all have a little Karen in us at some point? No, you're not, you shouldn't. That's the whole problem. And if you're telling us you got some in you, I don't like you, Gargoyle. You gonna call the police on my black ass? That's what you're telling me?
Right. Here's my thing. If you so quick to use Karen as a joke, that means you're not too unquick to use Keisha as a joke.
Or say hard ER in your house.
Mm-hmm. Or say, nigga, and while you're rapping a Big Sean song. You know what I mean? Because that's where they get it from. Most people don't ever want to address it. These white people get emboldened by Big Sean lyrics.
They do. They do. But it started with Kanye.
Yeah, it did. But Big Sean. Listen, I'm not blaming Big Sean. He's allowed to say nigga. I'm just saying.
I blame Big Sean if he tells them honkies that they can say nigga.
I don't think he would, though.
Oh, okay.
He's from Detroit, so I don't.
Kanye's from Chicago.
Yeah. Moving right along.
Okay.
So, I also want to point out that in She Stick's apartment, his TV was crooked. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Because I was up in these people's houses. No, I was like, well, I paused.
Because his house, I said, this looks like White Boomerang. Like, this looked like White Eddie Murphy. This looks like White Eddie Murphy's apartment with this fucking cheesy-ass fireplace shit.
Yeah, he got one of them Instagram apartments.
And then I was getting confused because he didn't have no furniture, so for a second I had to stop and look and say, is this the new place or is this his place? Like,
yeah,
a lot of
because they all had the same color palette.
Alike. Yeah.
I was like, that looks like my house. Like some of the like the kitchens, I was like, this looks like my kitchen.
And then I was like, God damn, New York is raggedy as fuck.
Yeah.
We are raggedy. Yeah. We're just used to it. We'd be like, it's character.
Listen, I have the PTSD that I have suffered from from living in New York is wild. Because I was talking to Houston Nikki, Plentiful Brows.
Plentiful Brows in El Makeup.
And she was telling me how, like, child, even in Houston, in the projects, we had a dishwasher. And I was like, in all of New York, in all my apartments I lived in New York, I never had a dishwasher. Nope. And she was just like, I don't even know how y'all lived in New York. And I was like, you know what? Looking back, I don't either. So.
Because, I'll be walking to Airbnbs and be like, oh, a dishwasher. That's fancy.
Wait until I get an in-unit washer and dryer. Oh, honey.
I got one. I bought it.
I'm not black. I'm OJ, okay?
I told you I bought me one on my own. I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's still, and it's yet, yeah, man. Yeah, we got to get out the hood, man.
Yeah, the ghetto. So, Rom-Com goes over to Evil Villain's house. Now, his house is cute. I liked his house.
He had this little piece when you walked in, and it was like different woods.
Yeah.
Said, because Mama loves a rustic piece now.
Yeah. He said modern rustic was the theme with elements of 80s. I was like, okay, the only thing that I would have done differently was his little entertainment unit. It was just a little too cluttered. But I get why it was that way.
I also would have burned every neon panel in that house.
They were just LED lights. I mean, we have them around.
So turn them off then. Put them in one room. Let's have a themed room where you can turn them on when you're in the mood.
That's fair.
She liked his dogs more than she liked him.
I can't say that because that's like white people commonplace.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
You
enough.
know what I mean? So that's kind of their way.
Yeah.
So they're trying to introduce each other. There's dogs, and of course it's always the little dogs that have the most issue. They're always the
Always.
one, the nippy, and they get on my nerves.
But I think her dog was smaller, but his dog was the one that was actually
His
the
dog would,
problem.
yes, yeah. I'm surprised he has such a small dog too. He had 3 of them.
That's probably
He looked
why.
like the type to have like a husky
Mm-hmm.
or like a Great Dane, like dogs that are big as him. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I can see
But
him with a greyhound, something random.
yeah, a
Yeah.
Dachshund.
Yeah. But then he also looks like a mutt guy. Like, oh, I'm not sure what she is, but we love her.
Yeah. He could have a basset hound too. I don't know. I just, it's just a lot of.
He's a multifaceted dog person.
Yeah, but
He's white.
it's fine.
So yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we move on to day 9 of marriage. And Offred pulls up in a white Honda Accord, which I expected her to drive.
Boots.
That or Altima.
Mm-hmm.
Because she gives Jalen is my king energy.
Yeah. Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
She
yeah,
wouldn't
she
name
does.
him Jalen. She'd name him Jace.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Same sentiment. Connor is my king. There you go.
There you go.
So she pulls up to Big Booty Anderson Park's house, and it looks exactly how I thought it would. Clean on the
Absolutely.
outside and then a mess on the inside.
This nigga has front porch furniture. And I said, uh-huh.
Oh, like you're an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a real adult purchase.
It is to buy patio furniture and like
Yeah.
but he has like it's not even patio furniture. This nigga has porch furniture.
It's outdoor furniture. That's what he
Yeah.
has. He has
Yeah.
outdoor furniture. It's
And it
not
ain't a
some
folding
like
chair.
it's not from Value City or
It's
anything
not.
like that.
He got that from Costco.
Honestly, that was outdoor furniture, honey. I said, ooh.
I said that looks like a
collection.
painted red and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, so she goes in his house and it looks exactly like we thought. Looks very clean. Appears to be very clean. It probably is very clean. However, his drawers and his cabinets are a disheveled fucking mess. Just
They
like
match his
the
beard.
inside of his head and his pubes.
Yeah. I was like, oh, art imitating life. What's up?
It's like it's smooth on the outside. It's a little nappy inside, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Nappy's not bad.
Right.
So,
and we show her house. And
it looks exactly as I thought.
Yeah, but it's a lot more put together than his.
It's also a lot more put together than what I thought. As far as the
Yeah.
hominess, I expected her to have a homey element. But she's very organized and clean. Now, granted, we also are seeing these things after people knew TVs and shit cameras and shit was going to be up in their apartments. But she looks like she has systems.
Yeah. I feel like she's not like anal retentive or cleaning like that kind of thing, but like she's not like dirty.
She's a Capricorn, so she's an earth sign, which means she does take some sort of pride in her home.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So, we are here to Pastor Calvin, and Pastor Calvin is scheduled to meet with all the couples
Yes.
at their respective shared apartments. They explain why they're in the apartments, and it's because they have a neutral ground to build their lives together.
Yes.
Because also, that's also weird. Like, yeah, it's a one thing to, like, we're already married or whatever, that all of a sudden you got to live in my house. Nigga,
Right.
I pay
Like,
rent. I got to
you
lease.
you are a stranger in my home.
Right.
I'm good.
No, ma'am. So, Pastor Calvin stops by Heather Headley and Not Miro's crib first. And there's not really many issues with them for now. And, Pastor Calvin asked them about, the future. And they talk about finances and how they're both really supportive of one another. She's on board with his entrepreneurial spirit, which I was quite shocked because most people be like, oh, I'm not into that. And they both feel like they're they feel like they're both a perfect match. Although he says, right? No, he says that Heather Headley has a tonality issue, and it's not what she says, it's how she says it.
Okay,
now,
I'm seeing the issue with both of them.
Yes.
Because when they woke up in the apartment, first of all, she started off in the episode telling us about one of her quirks being picking up after people, and that she did it all through the hotel room, and she can't help herself in doing that. Okay, so you know what? If that's your thing to go pick up behind somebody, they can't be mad because you picking up behind them if you choosing to do it, right? Yeah. But she does that thing that irritates me, where people make suggestions when they really just need to ask what they really want. It's passive aggressive. So, but then she also will say I don't know, but it just seems to be quite a bit. Like, she was poking him when she woke up, and she's like, "I'm an early riser," and I'm like, okay, that shit would make me violent. That would irritate the life out of me. However, he is very machismo and very sensitive, and I can tell that he's one of those people that you cannot tell them that they are sensitive.
Oh, honey, I was like, oh, daddy is sensitivo, okay?
Sensitive, machismo. He's got some.
He Dominican.
I told y'all niggas.
No, you said he was gonna cheat.
Also
we didn't say he was emotionally unavailable.
Oh no, I didn't say that. But but it's all encompassing.
Oh God. Well, he admits that he holds things in, and and to a fault. And so, Pastor Calvin talks about the real that happens in a relationship. He was like, y'all gonna get in each other's nerves and y'all gonna have a fight. But the key is how you work through them. Which, valid. Next day, day 10 of marriage. And, yeah. You want to take a break, actually?
Let's take a break and we'll come right back.
All right. This is the blackest show about nothing.
This is Jade and XD. I'm Jade.
And I'm XD.
The show is two best friends talking about anything and everything.
And sometimes we have awesome people on, like Crystal and Kid Fury from The Read.
When I was in high school, there was this girl in my computers class with me. I wish I could remember her name so I could apologize. But I just used to call her Atrocious, as, a pet name, because... Hey, Atrocious! Being someone who was constantly the butt of a joke or picked on or whatever, I just saw this opportunity to, make fun of somebody else, and I did it.
Somebody needs to do a study into silver teeth and the link between, the silver tooth to prison pipeline.
Yeah, silver tooth to prison pipeline.
And New York Times bestselling author Michael Arsenault.
And Mama kept trying to interject at any moment that she could sing, and it was like, beloved, you're not even the best singer on stage. The girl from Destiny's Child is with the Platinum Solo album. It's like, not you.
And of course, there's us,
Jade
and XD.
You can listen to new podcast episodes every week on Fridays.
Listen to Jade and XD
for free on Spotify.
And we're back. Talking about Married at First Sight. Again, as a reminder, we're here now every Thursday, the day after it airs. Married at First Sight season 12.
Yes.
Because people were confused as to what, we were talking about, even though we say season 12 all the time. Also, people are confused if you actually watched the show, and I was like, we cover the show every week.
So y'all ain't listening then. That's what that is telling me.
Yeah, it's cool. But, just know that's what's happening, okay? Yes. So we're on day 10 of the marriage, right? And so we open with not Mila Kunis pouring red Moscato or pink Moscato, because why wouldn't she?
Right.
and they're getting ready for Pastor Calvin to come. And so Pastor Calvin comes in, he greets them, he sits them down, and Cheese Stick goes into this like, I'm a marriage professional. This is how marriage is supposed to work. And not Mila Kunis feels that she's in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
Which she does.
She does.
It's both of them.
Yeah, but she's like, hold on. Like, he's also very overly protective in that.
Also that.
He feels that she should ask permission to do things. He doesn't feel like it's asking permission. He feels like you should ask to see if it's okay.
Which is the same motherfucking shit. Why do I need to ask you if this is okay? You should trust my behavior. We don't have any plans between the two of us at this time. These are my plans. I'll see you when I get back.
Exactly.
So and she brought up how when she didn't text him when they went out, that he was upset.
Right. Now, this is where I had Pastor Calvin and both of them kind of gaslit. They were right and wrong at the same time. So it came into this issue where not Mila Kunis talks about how when she gets drunk, she'll like crash at a friend's house who happens to be male. Now she has intimated and reiterated time and time again that her friends are just her homies. They're just her niggas from college. Nothing is going on. She's like, if I get too drunk, I'm not going to drive. I'm going to just pass out here. Like, that's not, it is what it is. They're my friends. And, of course, Cheese Stick feels a way about that. And Pastor Calvin says he would feel uncomfortable with that. And his rationale is, if my wife is out drunk somewhere and passed out, I want to make sure that she's safe.
So at one of her homeboy's house, that's not safe?
Right. Now, Pastor Calvin introduces a churchy fucked up term that church people use all the time called, as a husband, you are the house band, meaning you are the band that keeps it together.
Wow, that's so inaccurate. Wow.
Right.
Because
they rationalize this thing be around safety. And it's like, okay, yes, you may not know her friends like that, and you should get to know her friends. Like, that's not in a sense of like you need to know all of their business, but you should know people who like, oh, that's so and so's friend. You don't need to know, like, especially if you're going out with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but don't put that assumption that I'm putting myself in harm's way. Like, you're making the gross assumption that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, even when I am drunk. I just said I can't drive. Doesn't mean
assumption that I don't know what I'm doing with the friends that I choose in my life. If I'm telling you that these are my friends and I view them as family, then you are then questioning my good judgment as an adult on who I choose to have close to me in my life. Now, we ain't finna just be passing out all over the place. Like, we just go, like, we ain't just about to be, we're not gonna make this a habit. You see what I'm saying? Do I have homeboys? Like, some of my good homeboys went with Tristan to the strip club on his bachelor party. Like, they're like, they are truly, those are my niggas. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not. And also, like, let me see. I don't know. He's from Atlanta. One of them's from Atlanta. When I went to Atlanta a couple years ago, this homeboy picked me up from the airport. We went to eat. We chilled around. And Tristan didn't have any issue with it whatsoever. Like, this is my homeboy. Like, this is my friend. This has been my friend since I was 13 years old. This is my friend who has come up here and has integrated himself into my family. So it's like, I don't know. It gets a little complicated, I guess. Ultimately, you should trust your partner and trust their judgment, right? Unless they prove otherwise. I can also understand where you're like, yo, we're a couple. I don't want you passing at your homegirl's house 4 times a week. Like, I would really love if you came home, but I am glad you're safe, and I'm glad that you have somewhere to go.
Right. Exactly that. And I just, none of that is ever clearly communicated.
No, because that's not how he feels.
Right. So, oh God, this is where shit gets wild in the episode.
You know, I took the notes by couples, so as you're going through the steps of the episode, I'm scrolling through to find
sorry.
No, you're fine.
I just feel like it's easier to go through what happened because this was a roller coaster.
I still have them underneath each one, so when you bring up the couple, I'm like, bang, that's all right. It's right there.
Got it.
It's right there.
We're moving on to hashtag blessed and Black Christian Weave Lady. And so he's finally back from Chicago, and he wanted to have a conversation with Black Christian Weave Lady. And without cameras, and they cut the microphones, and shit goes black. All of a sudden, Black Christian Weave Lady calls the producers, screaming.
Okay, now that bitch. She has not lost her composure all season. She has not lost her composure in any of these last episodes. Mama was motherfucking tired. She was like, I'm tired. I need to know what the fuck is going on. I'm done with this shit. I'm airing this motherfucker out. Like, she is going on and on and on and on and on.
All right.
And I understand.
Yeah, she explains that he tells her that he's trying to get back with his ex-girl, baby mom's, whatever. And that he spoke to a divorce attorney and everything.
Ooh, he is flagrant. That nigga is flagrant.
Right. And she feels disgusted, and she's regretting fucking him. And she even hangs up on the producer because she's so damn mad. Now, I have had thoughts in my mind as to why she was intimate with him in the first place. But when you learn later on why, I really was like, is she on Twitter? Because I need to make sure she, like, it's, you know, Talkspace.com slowly, like, code the read. Because it's just like, that was some weird shit there. But here's what happened.
Paige Banks.
Right. But before that, we see Heather and Miro, you know, they're still in love. Her TV's leaning. And he's like talking shit about her apartment. And he's like, they're cute though. Like, they'll get over it. Mama loves to stay fly though. And he got a little intimidated by her closet. And all that meant to me was, oh, you're poor. So
Which he's not. But
no, I meant him.
No, he's not. We saw his house.
Oh yeah. He's not. But I'm like, why would you say that? You know what I mean?
She also
like,
had 333 boxes of Michael Kors shoes.
Okay, they make it in your side when you got the coin.
Niggas love Michael Kors.
They do. And what is she?
Right.
Mama said wifey at the altar.
Did.
So there's
Did,
yeah.
honey. Mama said airing that bitch out. So Mama is very black.
Right. We're back at where Pastor Calvin shows up to talk to Paige.
Yes.
So if you ever notice, they always compliment Paige with how she looks and how she's amazing.
Everybody.
You look good, girl.
You're looking good over there. You're looking right. You're looking nice.
Yeah. Because they know that there's some bullshit afoot.
See, in her composure this whole show, I was like, she's 26. You know, she has the spirit where she might do well with somebody older until this episode.
She carries on like... Have you ever watched a Tyler Perry play before?
Yes.
Which one?
The one where she was It was filmed in a backyard the whole time.
Yes. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted to. So
Okay.
that's family reunion.
Okay.
So there's a woman in there that's like, you can't trust him, you can't trust him, you can't trust him. That's exactly who she is. God, I gotta tell Chris Rogers that. Yeah. You can't trust him, you can't trust him,
Did
you
you tell
can't
him
trust
what
him.
I said earlier on Patreon?
No. I got to. But anywho. So she goes on and she says she's felt the disconnect from the beginning. She said even from walking down the aisle, she said there was always something off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she gives him the rundown, and Pastor Calvin is like, "Well, were you intimate?" And she was like, "Yes." And I appreciated he said consensually.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he
And
did.
she said yes. And he was confused as to why. Because he was like, well, why did you have sex with him if he said that all these things?
So she says she should have recognized the red flags, but she was committing to the process and the marriage and the arrangement and God's ordained blah, 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 blah. She's full of shit for that. Because the red flags were like right here. Like they were literally like you were choosing to not see the red flags. You were choosing to ignore the red flags, should I say.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Choosing to do it. You kept saying, well, I don't, even when Brianna would be like, well, what you gonna do? Like, I'd be out of here. She's like, well, I don't know because, God put us together for a reason. Anyway, go ahead.
Right. She says she had sex with him so she wouldn't upset him as a wife.
That disturbed me.
And Pastor Calvin began to cuss. He was like, he said, that's BS. He was like, I can't say the word because I'm a pastor. I was like, yeah. But he was like, that's BS. Because he was like, so he told you that essentially that you're ugly and you still continue to have sex with him. And she said, yes. She said there was only 2 days they did not have sex.
Yep. And she was
and
like,
it was all raw.
And he was like, so why do you think he chose to have sex with you? And she was like, well, because he told me, he wanted to try to strengthen our connection, and he felt like. So that's where you can see Pastor Cal getting more and more and more upset. And let's be very clear, Pastor Cal says some things at times that really make me raise my one eyebrow if I could.
Absolutely.
But he's not all the way wrong with everything. And he recognized, and I could tell by the way he was asking the questions to her.
Yeah.
He could tell
all
that
pastors
she
have
was
that
manipulated.
issue.
He's like, listen, you're grown and this was consensual. That's why he noted it. But he could tell she was gaslit and so forth and so on throughout this entire process. And the more she disclosed about Chris and how he acted day by day, the more disgusted he became, learning how this nigga really showed his ass.
Right. So, all of a sudden, here comes this nigga in these yeast infection jeans.
Ooh, bacterial
also,
vaginosis, honey.
Yeah, he also walked. I didn't realize he's parrot-toed or pigeon-toed.
He's pigeon-toed?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
His legs. I hated his legs in those jeans. I said, this is terrible. I hate you, nigga. I actually hate you.
I was like, oh, he parrot-toed just like Jackie O.
What do you keep calling it? Parrot-toed?
Yeah, parrot-toed. Where you like this? Some people say pigeon-toed. Other people say parrot-toed.
I
It's the
have
same
never
thing.
heard anybody say parrot-toed.
Mm-hmm. My grandmother used to say parrot-toed all the time.
Wow, that's a new one for you, girl. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But it's pigeon-toed. So anywho, he comes in and Pastor Cal asks him, what's going on, young blood? And he tells him that he thinks it's best to separate. And Pastor Cal is trying to have Chris understand the error in his ways. And he's even gaslighting Pastor Calvin.
Yes.
And it gets to a point where he'll ask it. So Pastor Cal asks about sex and intimacy because he wants to get to the reason why you was fucking this girl if you said she was ugly. And he was like, I don't want to disrespect, so I'm not going to say anything.
What he really wanted to say is because she had a fat ass and I couldn't resist.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 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 So after Pastor Cal gives up and walks away, they have a moment, and #Bless whispers in her ear that he fears that he'd fall in love with her. And that sends Black Christian Weave Lady into a tizzy because now she's like, is this the end? I don't know. And they leave each other in the parking lot, and they part and they go their separate ways. So Pastor Calvin then shows up to Eva Villain and Romcom's crib, and she talks about she did a lot of stuff out of obligation because she felt that's what she had to do because she was the wife. So having sex with him or even hanging out with him, because she doesn't really like him. She's not a touchy-feely person.
No.
And she doesn't like being accused of being a liar, and even though she was.
She was a liar. She literally has never taken accountability this entire time.
Right. And so, Evil Villain is projecting that we learn, and he talks about his past and about how this has happened in before. And Pastor Calvin says, they need to influence each other and drop their guards down because I honestly don't see what's wrong with the 80s shtick, because that's his thing. He could be into a whole bunch of other shit.
You're saying you don't see what's wrong with it?
I don't see what's wrong. He's into the 80s. It's not like he's into drugs and rock and roll. Some people are into.
He's obsessed. No, he's obsessed. I feel like he literally cannot have a conversation that does not include bringing up the 80s.
But I also feel like that's like people who collect stuff are like that. Like people who are collectibles, people who are like collect things that have nostalgia attached to it. That's all they talk about, really.
Okay, so as a person who doesn't collect things, I just want you to know that does not always translate well when you are dealing with people outside of that very specific interest.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I understand, but she can't connect it to it because she wasn't even thought of by then. No, I totally get it, but I don't think his collections or anything are warranted enough for her to ignore him and leave that nigga like on red at a bar. Let him enjoy the Goonies in peace, and you go off and do your own thing. But just don't have to lie to him and be like, okay, I don't want to hang out with you, but I'm gonna just lie and say I'm gonna go with my girls. I'm just saying he has not done anything.
Let me try to put this in nigga context. If you were dating a nigga and happened to marry a nigga who was so obsessed with the 90s that all he talked about was the 90s, all he wore was 90s clothes, and the only movies y'all niggas can watch are John Singleton movies, after a while, friend, you might crack.
I understand that, but I also don't think that's all he talks about. I feel like that's heavily edited.
Okay.
I just feel like she's young and she gets annoyed really easily. I know how I was at 26.
I think she just gets annoyed really easily.
Yeah, I know how I was at 26 to 27 dating older niggas. I know how that was. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I also think that he hasn't done, only thing that he's ever done that was egregious was say that she had another nigga back at home.
Egregious in that way. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, he definitely wore a fanny pack and like those glasses to dinner.
Yeah,
he definitely like picked up her skirt and immediately was like, "Ooh, looks like the '80s. I love it." Like, I don't know how edited it really is. I just
listen. That just might be his thing. He's not like he's not.
Fine.
It's just how some people make it. I have two braids.
See, we're
Okay, I'll say it like this. You know how like you have friends in life who are overtly sexual, but they don't mean to be that way. It's just who they are, and they're great people. Mm-hmm. It's just everything they talk about is, DNA and TDNA. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, damn.
Right. But you're still their friend.
Yeah.
I can see.
You don't like. What if you have a friend that's totally into like, ooh, you hang around a bunch of old gays, so the gay they talk about Janet Jackson and Faith Evans all the damn day, and you're gonna be like, are you gonna tolerate it, or are you gonna stop being their friend because that's all they talk about?
I'll deal with them in doses. I married the niggas.
You see what I mean? There's like, it's one thing if that consumed and he forced it and said, "Oh, you need to wear this stuff." He's just introducing her to something new. I don't think there's anything. I think he likes the 80s. That's just what he's into. Some people are into cars. Some people are into, rap music.
Okay. You know how you might date somebody and they're into like vintage fashion, right? Not like thrifting, because your bitch thrifts, but like they're like into the vintage look, right? It's always like the pinup look, or it's always the suit cat daddy or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. After a while, you're going to be like, nigga, are you ever just going to wear some sneakers? Like, are you...
Yeah.
Like, you gonna do this forever? You get sick of that shit. Unless y'all are just kindred. And that is such a specific thing to, like, for... It can be your thing all day, but I feel like he needs somebody who is on that same plane.
That's fine.
So I can... and like you keep saying, she's young, so I can understand why it's even weirder for her. For us, it might be a little bit more palatable, but even still, after a while, you'd be like, okay, nigga, it's either your house, your workout, or the 80s. Like, it ain't shit else.
It could be worse. So,
well, yes, because we have Chris, but anyway.
Yeah, it could be worse.
But
so,
Pastor Cal does talk to them about their communication.
Yes.
And he's like, this is indicative of a bigger problem, because you need
absolutely.
to start speaking on the things that upset you or that you don't like or that are red flags to you, because then they're just going to come out in ways that they don't need to come out. And so she's like, okay, the 80s thing is a red flag for me, And he tells him on the other side of things, it's okay for her to bring change into your life.
Right. Valid.
He's like, we should be able to do that with each other. We should be able to, I think it's cool for him to introduce her to some things that she might not otherwise know, kind of keep the past alive. And then in turn, maybe she'll be able to balance him out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. She still don't like him, though.
Right. So we move on to day 11, towards the end of the episode now. And Pastor Cal meets up with Offred and Anderson .Paak.
Yes.
She's like, I feel like I'm going to the principal's office.
Seems like she did that often, actually.
Right. And, they're into one another, and Pastor Cal asks about their intimacy, and we learn that, you know, they ain't got to home yet, but there's been a lot of first, second, and third basing going on.
So that must be what she was talking about, or what was very briefly mentioned. Oh, you know what? She said we have a physical relationship. She did not say we've had sex. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
that's a clarification for myself.
You know, they probably they put their mouths on each other. I know that for a fact.
They give each other head. She stuck it in her butt, but
yeah, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she might have pegged him.
Yeah,
but they
haven't gotten, not biblically, no.
Not missionarily.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, we doing other stuff. He said he's looking for a deeper connection and focusing on getting to know one another more before they take it there, which, nigga, you put your mouth on me like I put my mouth on you. That's intimate. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not doing that with everybody. And so Pastor Cal asked her how she feels about that, because the thing about it is, in the beginning, he's looking at them like, okay, this shit is too agreeable. Not that they're hiding anything, but he's like, let's start to bring some reality into this, because he's like, you guys are doing the married people check-in, you looking at each other. He's like, all of these are good signs, but challenge also breeds, I don't know, resilience. I don't know what the.
Yeah. He says that, you know, sometimes you need a little dirt to grow.
Which is true. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get through some of those times so you can see different aspects of people's characters and so forth and so on. So that's what he's like, all right, let me poke this bear just a little bit. He's like, cause y'all too good. So that's when we get into the intimacy, and she says she is taking things slower than what she is used to.
Yeah.
And he reads all into that.
Yeah. And it goes into, you know, Anderson .Paak talking about his ineptitude of loving someone, which is going to be commonplace for this season. I'm a little tired of it. Yeah. And, you know, but he says he's committed to offer it, you know, that he's willing to go the distance for her, and vice versa. And I don't think there's anything going to be really wrong with him. I think, if anything, she would leave him before he leave her.
I think she would be out first, but I think it would be out of hurt feelings.
Absolutely, because it'll be unrequited love, because she'll say I love you, and he's gonna say thank you, and she's gonna be hurt.
Yes. Now this is where I don't know how much of this I agreed with Pastor Cal. Like, I understood what he was saying, but I don't know if I agreed with it. So they bring up that love thing that you talk about, and Pastor Cal says he says, listen, love is an intellectual decision and not a feeling.
Yeah, that was wild.
And I was he goes, you know, he asked him, because he said it's a set of principles. It's a principle. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is the church thing. But he asked him, because earlier Graham Cracker said, you know, and both of them, when they were talking about it, they were laying in bed, and he looked at her and was like, so we really gonna do this, which translates to, yo, I really like you, like, you know, I'm just thinking about us right now. And so that was what he said. So Pastor Cal brings that up, and he's like, that was you choosing her, and that's something to be considered. He's like, don't be afraid of the word love, which I do think that Graham Cracker has taken it a little far with never saying it to anybody. He's like, I need it to be a feeling that can't be explained. Okay. Yeah. He is aggravating, but also I was like, this is really methodical, the way he is speaking about love. And I feel like it might be. Go ahead, nigga. Go ahead.
I have something controversial yet very brave to say. I'm just going to say it, and then you're going to have to move on. He talks like he's been in love with a nigga before. Yeah. Gays, and y'all know, gay. Oh, honey, gays, if y'all listen to this, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Ladies, if you hear me, help me sing it out.
Okay, so
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
I know
I'm
you're not.
just saying.
Almost like a nigga who's been in love with a nigga but chose to be with a woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's real moonlight. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or even like for colored girls.
Yeah.
You know, minus a certain part, but like just just like just because I have.
Yeah.
Wow, very controversial and brave.
I'm just saying that he talks like he is.
Because it's
like
almost like I
chose
chose to be in love with a woman because I, care about her well-being and I want what's best for her. That translates to
that, and it's just niggas who have been in love who have had one unrequited love with a nigga before, they act a certain way. I'm just telling you, if you think about Kevin, you are going to automatically
I'm not
think
even thinking about
about
Kevin. I'm thinking about niggas that I know.
like Chiron and Kevin's story, which we need to have. We need to have a episode of.
Do we actually?
Patreon.
Do we? Should we not do that? Maybe not.
I'm just saying that we need to debunk some things that we have learned in the real, what it really is like. But anywho.
We're gonna have to title that episode "Nick Cannon Us."
Listen, I just want us to
because you're gonna have a lot of niggas coming to you like, that was a beautiful piece of art.
It was art, but art can be critiqued.
It can. I just want y'all to like. I just. What I really want is for. I just like. Stop saying that just because niggas wanted a little bit more context that they like. You just don't understand. You don't understand even, nigga.
Yeah.
And stop acting like you do. And stop acting like nobody's saying they needed a car to flip over and blow up, nigga. But that doesn't mean that we just couldn't ask for a little bit more.
Listen, niggas
sometimes
use
I don't want to read
terms.
between the lines when I pay $27 to go see a movie.
Right. Niggas learn terms like intersectionality and spaces, and all of a sudden they think they're better than every fucking body.
Right. Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm like, put it in his butt. Do it. I know you want to.
Last but not
I
least,
want it for you.
We're back with Heather Headley and Miro.
Yes. Ooh.
And this really upset me, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, sir.
Yeah. Well, we have seen signs of it.
Yes.
So
for the last 2 episodes. Now, if you listen to tomorrow's episode, you'll hear what happens and of how it led into. But yes, there was some issues where we see him acting funny style.
So they sit down with Pastor Cal, and it's good. Like, he can see the love between the two of them. She says he's very kind, because Pastor Cal is asking them what they love about each other. She's like, he's very kind. He says she completes him, which I find to be a very general kind of bullshit statement. I'm like, what? That's not what you like about her. He says they're both motivated people and inspire one another. Again, you're not saying what you like about her.
Right.
So she's like, he's very driven and motivated. I want to give her everything she wants. Again. And they look like they're in love. So he asks about family. They say a few years. He asks about consummating the marriage, and they blush, and yeah, we did it. It happened organically. He brings up the grandmother thing and how says that the way she supported him, that's when he realized that he found the person he wants to be with for the rest of his life. I said, wow, that's super transactional. Which, yeah, there's some transactional aspects to relationships and love, but that's the moment when you realize you want to be with somebody forever.
Right.
But how they hold you down, that's the most nigga ass statement. That's the
let's just say that's Bronx behavior.
Oh, baby, that is peak nigga behavior. I love her because she loyal to me. What? We need to have a real in-depth conversation with you niggas about loyalty and conflating it with love.
Yeah.
And how you know it's not love because y'all don't act in ways that supports loving somebody, but that's another conversation. So, she says she feels the same way about finding her person and that he always makes her feel okay with being herself, which is actually not always true because we have seen what happens when she is herself. So, Pastor Cal asks what possible challenges, do they think that they're going to come across? Do you have any potential challenges? And they kind of hesitate. Because they're in such like this loving space that they don't really want to say negative stuff about each other, even when they have moments of, "Oh, you are getting on my fucking nerves right now." So he talks first. I'm not surprised, and says disrespect is a huge thing for him. Respect, respect, respect. And I'm so glad that Pastor Cal asked, "Well, what does that look like?" Because you keep throwing this around, but what does that actually look like for you?
Yeah.
And he says she's a lot more direct than what he would want. And it's about how she says stuff, not what she says.
And I guess I understand. As someone who has a tonality issue, I understand that. However, Heather Headley makes it a point to check in with him.
She does.
Often.
She does.
Because and when that check in, that could be his opportunity to be like, "Hey, I didn't really like what you said right just then."
I don't think the problem is her tone. He don't want nobody saying nothing to her. I can understand if the nigga came and said, "Okay, you a little bit worrisome. Like you're a little." It's feeling a little bit like micromanagement at this point. That would be way more understandable, but you keep talking about her saying anything at all pretty much. And you're trying to put it under the guise of her being direct. But like you said, we hear it. She does check in with you, and her tone does not seem to be condescending or disrespectful to you as a person. See, but this is your machismo shit, and you don't want her saying shit to you.
So, they get back to the crib, and they pop a little bubbly, and he spills some on accident, and he gets some on his shirt, and she goes, just like Vinny. Oh, you pulled a Vinny. And she says it in a cute way.
She says everything in a cute way, and I can also see how that could be.
That's also very true. But I in this moment, I didn't get that.
She didn't do anything. She didn't do anything wrong in this moment. I didn't get that either.
Right. And she senses that the energy shifts. And so we all have been there. And she's like, well, what's wrong? And he pulls her into the bathroom. And he was like, I'm tired of your smart ass comments.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's genuinely confused as to what's happening. Like, I didn't mean to offend you. What was it that I said that I offended you? Because she's clearly
Okay.
asking questions.
Because I thought he was going, because it's clear that we know he's going to get upset, right? Because they basically, they ended the conversation with Pastor Cal letting them know that, because this is also where I got red flags, because when he talks about her communication, and how he doesn't like her tone sometimes, she goes back into the same thing that happened in Vegas. I don't ever want to come off as rude. I don't know if this is a trigger for her because people have told her she's rude in the past. I'm not sure. I don't get rude from her. I do get micromanagement, and I do get it's a little much at times. Because with the champagne thing, she did say it like about 3 or 4 times. She joked on it 3 or 4 times, but it was never in a tone that was irritated or like condescending, but she did bring it up mad times. However, back to that conversation with Pastor Cal, she's like, I care about his feelings, and so I don't ever want to come off in a way that is, being nasty to him or being rude. He says, I'm afraid of how I'm gonna react. You know what I'm saying? And Pastor Cal goes, no, I don't know what you're saying. Explain it to me. Because that was a red flag, and I can see where he saw it too. And he said sometimes when he's provoked, he fires back. And he doesn't want to do that to her and say the wrong thing. And Pastor Cal was like, well, when you live with somebody and you're married to them, one day you're going to react and one day you're going to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Which is very true. We're all human beings. And so while we should be mindful and be able to check ourselves as adults, we're imperfect. And so that happens.
Right.
But so back to this champagne spill, she says it a few times where I can see where that could be annoying, but he gets mad.
Bigly.
Yes. And like you said, he's like, I'm tired of your smart ass mouth. Well, she wasn't nasty with him at any point, and he got nasty with her.
Like, disrespectful almost.
And she's trying to test the temperature a lot. She's like, oh, you ready to come home to me every night? You ready for, you want to share a closet with me? And he's like, no, it's best that you have your own space for your own stuff. I don't want to be in your way. And she's like, well, I want to be in your space. And then finally, that's her testing and then finally she's like, what's wrong? And that's when all that stuff happens or whatever. Now, that's where she's learning how sensitive he is, and we're all learning how sensitive he is. And he's like, I can always go back home. Because she's like, I don't want to talk about this no more. Right. And he's like, I can always go back home. And he leaves. I didn't think he was actually going to leave, but he leaves.
Oh, me either. I was like, ooh, this is dramatic antic.
But he is dramatic. He's talking about she belittled him and she was condescending and talked down to him. And I said, oh, okay, he needs to go to therapy. He's got some complex. Somewhere in this nigga's life, somebody has told him one too many times that he's dumb.
Yes.
So now he projects and will say, oh, you think I'm dumb? She never once treated him like he was stupid. And that's not to say that somebody's feelings are invalid, but as an outside looking in, that lady did not talk to him like he was stupid. She did not treat him like he was dumb. She didn't do any of that. He has a complex.
Got that Candy Muse complex. Yeah. Yeah. Candy Muse did the exact same thing.
Yeah, so he left. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're going to be fine, but this is red flag behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they figure it out. It looks like it because I see in my my Explore page on Instagram that they're all in love and happy and stuff. So I really hope they make it through.
I hope so too, and I hope he don't cheat.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he's gonna do.
Yeah. But that's today's episode. That's literally what happened after. That's literally the end of the episode.
No, we didn't talk about the end of Black Christian Weave Lady in #blessed.
Yeah, when they left at the parking garage.
Oh, we said that? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay. Because I really wanted to go into more about her. Because this is where she really got on my nerves.
Oh, yeah, you can talk about it. Go ahead.
Okay, so after this nigga loses his whole mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't go into him whispering all in her ear.
I did say that.
What was I doing?
You weren't paying attention.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know what? Never mind. Oh, damn. I must not have been. Because I would have chopped that nigga's head off.
Well, go ahead. The floor is yours right now. Go ahead.
No, I'm not trying to get. I know we're not trying to get taken off the air now. Because the things that I would have done to him for coming that close to me.
Okay.
I would have slammed his head into that couch so he could bite his own tongue off. Like, you can.
Oh my God.
You can honestly get out of my face right now. You have literally just played in my face and all over my face, all over TV. I can't.
Oh my goodness.
And this pretending like you afraid to fall in love with me. You can slam your dick in a door. Slam it in a door.
Well, slam your dick in the door.
You think they're gonna fuck again?
Yeah, because I feel like she ends up
Same.
pregnant, and she gonna have to find herself
Nope.
Is it No, I wasn't about to say that. I was like, is Planned Parenthood legal in Atlanta now? Because it's the South.
I think so. I think it's Alabama. South Carolina just tried. Anyway, I don't know if
you get what I mean. I wasn't about to make a joke about that. I was about to be like, well, girl, because honestly, she has choices, and I hope she makes the right one.
She was pregnant, but I don't know now. I don't think that's what it is now.
I think she ends up pregnant eventually. So.
You think so? As much as they was fucking, I guess so. She could be. But I'm hoping not. I know next week she's about to have a sit down with the ex-fiance, though, who this nigga can't decide if he's going to call her his fiance or his ex-fiance.
Which I also think is stupid, but, whatever.
For what? Like, why do we need to do this? That girl didn't know you was getting married. That girl didn't know that you had just gotten out of a relationship 2 seconds ago until she was already married to you. She's already... Why do they need to sit down? For what?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like mess for no reason. And this girl has already gone through enough all over TV, even though she keeps putting herself through some of this. Because now that it's been put in your face, you sitting up here talking about you confused. Are y'all really done?
Hold on. This is breaking news. Former aide to New York Governor Cuomo details sexual harassment claims, including an unwanted kiss at his New York City office.
Stop.
Breaking news, because this comes out it's Thursday, so yeah, today. But yeah, wild.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that.
Me either. But yeah, Paige, Black Christian Weave Lady, she's become disillusioned again. And I'm sure she'll be having her black maxi dress and jean jacket on sometime soon. Talking about I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely. You already know.
Yeah.
So we will see you all next Thursday here for another Married at First Sight recap.
And make sure you listen to us tomorrow. So, bye.
Bye.